I'm in Winters, California, on my way up to Oregon to keep working on the studio. It is Monday, February 10th. And for my video today, I want to talk about something that I'm working on in my personal life relating to how I listen to people. So where I'm starting from is an idea of active listening as opposed to passive listening. That was like the first thing that I tried to do as a listener. First way that I tried to reshape how I do that. And basically what that means for me has been giving lots of feedback, like non-verbally, mirroring body language and facial expressions, sort of commenting of agreement or empathy, even sometimes sounds that aren't words, but that just indicate that I'm with people, kind of just letting them know that I'm there with them. That's the goal of active listening, I think. And then, stuff like reflecting, when somebody is finished, saying, okay, what I think I'm hearing from you, and then reflecting to them so that they feel heard. It's all cool. No complaints for the most part. But what I've been noticing the last couple of days is that as I have done this, and as this has become more natural for me, the way I hear people, my energy level, or the balance of input to output has shifted a little bit. So I started noticing that when I was listening to people with this active listening style, I was making a lot of noise. I was doing the most, It was a little extra. It was a lot. It was a lot going out. And I also realized that it had become, sometimes it was almost like I was making my listening thing a collaborative thing where I was just helping people get there. And in an effort to make them feel heard, I think probably some of my own impatience was creeping in or something, where I was wanting to get to the point faster. And I just noticed gosh, for somebody who's supposed to be listening in this moment of the conversation right now, you sure are doing a lot, Gordon. So I took some time and I kind of reset, and then I tried to change. And at first it was really hard. I had a check-in with a friend, and she was telling me about herself and some inner experience that she'd been having. And gosh, as soon as I started making an intentional choice to not do this active reciprocating and to just sit there almost like poker face and just receive, one of the things that came up was, how will she know that I'm with her? But this was quickly fell apart, this concern, because you can feel when somebody is with you, when they're being really present with you. And you don't need a lot of verbal, guttural, or nonverbal or expressive feedback if you can feel their eyes and you can feel their attention. And I realized that I was giving this attention really fully. I just wasn't sort of demonstrating it, acting it out. And then the weirdest thing started happening. Oh, something else that happened was that I was just constantly wanting to do it, constantly wanting to say something or wanting to interject. And I was noticing this and realizing that I had been kind of sublimating those desires to participate into the way I was listening to people. And so by just chilling the heck out and letting the words come to me completely, the weirdest thing started happening, which was that at the point when I normally would have started to reflect or interject or help somebody to a conclusion. If I could just sit there and like continue to receive, and it happened over and over again, the person would find their own words and they would find their own way to the end of their thought. And oftentimes it would twist somewhere. Either they would get somewhere that I didn't expect that they would go, or more often what would happen, and I'm speaking in third person now because this happened with multiple people over the last 2 days. Their train of thought would move. It would get a little disorganized, or it would touch on something else that they realized was important. And that would have bothered me before. I would have gone, wait, this is a lot. Like, can we just like get this straight? But that's about me, not about them. And if I was able to sit through it and just let them get where they needed to go, it often was somewhere really cool. It often was somewhere that was kind of its own mutual discovery. But the best part of it, okay, so I'm calling this, instead of active versus passive listening, I'm calling this receptive versus positive listening. Like, my goal is to be active in the sense that I want to be really engaged and have somebody feel me with them. But my goal is also to be a sponge and to just be a reflective mirror, almost expressionless. A mirror for people to like work their thing out in and feel like the safety of knowing that they're not going to be interrupted and that I'm not like rushing them or urging them at all. And when people get to the end of that thought, when people get to the end of the thing, wherever it needed to go and however many twists and turns it had, the best part of it all is this glimmer of satisfaction in their eyes when they get somewhere and there's just like a beat of silence. And this has happened in the last 2 days. This has happened with a couple of people who I do not have an experience prior to this of ever feeling like they're done talking. If anybody's watching this, I bet you know some of these people. Like somebody that you just feel like is just always talking. But my decision to just like totally just shut up and let them get it out for where they were in that moment in their lives, for what it's worth, they got to that place when they were just done. And then the glimmer, the look in the eyes of like satisfaction of like, whoa, I got that whole thing out and you heard all of it. And there's like a moment of like gratitude there and like me feeling like, wow, I really got to let you take me on that journey. So cool. So this is my new gospel of listening. Not active listening versus passive listening. I'm done with that. So 2019. Receptive listening versus positive listening. If anybody's watching, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you know people who listen really well? What do they do? What makes a good listener? And how do you listen in your life? Catch you on the next one.